Hi, it's Michael, and today I want to talk about my brand new Sony ZV-1. Not bragging, just saying. Got it, like it. It's got some issues, but you know, overall it's a cool little camera. But what I wanted to talk about was the situation with getting a wider field of view, mainly by using an add-on lens, such as the popular Ulanzi lens. There's a couple things about the Ulanzi lens that I do not like. I do not own one, I've never touched one, but I've seen a lot of reviews of it because I was thinking about getting one. And here's what bothers me the most about the Ulanzi lens. In order to attach it to your camera, you need to glue a piece of 3M double-sided tape on there, which then attaches the mounting threads so that you can screw the Ulanzi lens onto your camera. I don't like that. I don't like that for a whole bunch of reasons. The two main reasons are the motor that retracts and extends the lens has to carry the weight of that lens when it's doing that. I don't like that. I can't imagine that's great for the camera. Also, the other, and maybe this is even a bigger problem, if you're outdoors shooting in hot sun, this is a black housing here. Yeah, they make a white one, but let's talk about the black one. That's going to absorb a lot of heat, and people are complaining that the glue fails and that the lens falls off. So I absolutely wrote off the Ulanzi wide-angle lens as a consideration. I recently just learned about the newer LS-18. This is similar to the Ulanzi as far as it gives you a wide-angle and a macro lens capability. However, it mounts to the camera in a different way. It does use a bayonet. So this bayonet mount actually just goes over the existing Sony lens housing. Just slide it on like this, and then you simply have to tighten it up using the provided Allen wrench. And so let me just do that right now. While I'm screwing this on, tightening it down, I will tell you that the bayonet is plastic. It does have a metal plate on it, as you can see, the shiny plate there, but the housing itself, the bayonet main piece here, is plastic. Now, as far as long-term durability, I can't really answer to that yet. I also don't know that if this is going to loosen up over time because it's plastic. I don't know. But there's the bayonet. Now, the lens itself comes with an extension tube. And since this is a bayonet mount, it makes it very easy to take the lens on and off the camera. You'll notice there's a little red dot here, and then there's also a dot on the extension tube. Push the button on the side here and line up the dots, and then just give it a little twist, let go of the button, and that extension tube is now locked onto the camera. And you can see that when I extend the Sony's lens, it just sort of pops this front part out. So this actually has a spring-loaded little thing that gets pushed out when you attach the lens. Now it's not a very tight spring, so I'm not so concerned about the Sony motor pushing this out because it's kind of minimal. Now the lens itself comes with two parts. This is the macro lens. This goes on your camera first, and then the wide-angle component attaches to the front of the macro lens. You need both of them together to work as a wide-angle lens. You remove the wide-angle lens to use the macro lens. So then what you need to do is you need to very carefully make sure not to cross-thread, attach the macro lens to the extension tube, snug it on there, and then get the second piece and attach that to the macro lens. Be very, very careful that you don't cross-thread this when you're attaching it. And there we have it. So notice what happens when I retract the lens, or extend the lens, and when I retract the lens. Now, I have noticed that when you're walking around, yeah, that's not too cool. So when you're walking around, you want to be careful that you're not letting this go back and forth, back and forth. Of course, like I just showed you, you can just remove the lens from the camera, and then that is not going to be an issue. But that is one thing that I noticed pretty quick. They do give you a lens cap also, And you're probably wondering, well, how much does that lens weigh? Well, I'll tell you, it weighs 7.17 ounces without the lens cap, 7.66 ounces with the cap. What does that mean? Well, the Sony ZV-1 camera weighs 10.43 ounces. The newer lens with the lens cap at 7.66 ounces, let's just call it 8 ounces. That's almost the weight of the camera. And if you add a grip, well, you're basically doubling the weight of your camera. So just keep that in mind. You are no longer carrying a very lightweight pocketable camera once you attach this. And also, I might add that if you do add a microphone plus the handle, you know, you've definitely doubled the weight of your camera. So just something to think about. What does the quality of this do for your shots? Well, it does definitely give you a wider angle shot than the stock Sony lens. And so that's nice. It's great for groups of people, landscapes, you know, that sort of thing. You are going to get some barrel distortion. So take a look at these photos that I recently took with this camera, and you can see the barrel distortion. Now that's fairly common with a wide angle lens of this nature. Plus, this is not super expensive. So there you go. It comes with the territory. As far as distortion though, it seems fairly sharp. I mean, it's, again, it's not a super expensive lens, so you can't expect perfection here. But I think it does definitely add capability. The macro function, here's a shot that I took with this lens, and you can really see the difference. It's quite nice. Good quality, it's pretty sharp. So I don't have any complaints. I won't be using the macro lens all that much. Primarily the wide angle is what I'll be using. Now the barrel distortion, you can take care of that. Usually I use DxO software, so that'll take out distortion somewhat. It's not perfect because they don't have the newer lens in their database yet, but you can remove some of that barrel distortion, and it's really not that objectionable. It only crops up really in your face when you're doing something like rows of bricks or siding on a house, like the picture that I took. You can really see it very prominently in that situation. Am I happy with this? Yeah, I am. You may not be happy though, because if you have a UU rig cage, which is the first cage that I bought, well, this also attaches around the Sony lens housing. So if you have this cage on, do not buy this lens unless you plan on taking off your cage in order to use this lens, because you can't have them both. However, the workaround that I got was to get this small rig handle. So it gives me the handle that I wanted. It also gives me a bunch of extra 1/4 inch threads on the top and the bottom. And when you use these handles, it'll also give you access to your battery and SD card slot, which is one of the main reasons you get it. And so that's really cool. This attaches basically to the tripod mount right on the bottom of your camera. So simply attaching it like this. I'll put links to these down below, affiliate links, in case you're interested in this. This was really the trade-off that I had to make in order to get the newer lens, was to switch from this cage that I absolutely loved to the small rig cage, which I kind of love, just not quite as capable. I'm going to do a comparison of these two cages in another video, because this video I wanted to focus just on the newer lens. So that is about it. I am pretty happy with it. It has a few caveats, like this thing flopping around when you're walking around. You do have to be careful with that, but it does definitely have an advantage, in my opinion, over the Ulanzi, because it's not glued onto your lens. It's not going to fall off accidentally. However, if you don't have this tightened up properly, it is possible that this could slide off of your Sony lens housing. So you do want to periodically check that before you go out, and just make sure it's snug and not going to slide off on you. If you have any questions about this newer macro lens, leave me a comment down below. I certainly will try to answer it if I can. Would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel if you found this video helpful, and ring the bell and you'll get instant notifications of my new reviews. Thanks a lot. Stay healthy. We'll catch you next time.